I wanted to speak on the Dreamers issue with Daca, and they are fighting tooth and nail to stay in the country. But personally, I'm not specifically speaking about Daca. There was a girl, here you can see her here, named Camila Cabello, that spoke at the Grammys, and everybody was clapping for her speech, and they didn't even catch the absolute disrespect that was in that speech that she gave. Well, it just shows that people are programmed to their own detriment. The most programmed are African Americans, because Camila Cabello basically stood on that stage and she said this country was built by dreamers for dreamers. People like her with a dream when her family came over here with nothing, which is not true. If you look into her background and her family, they had education in fields that would provide them with a lot of money. She came from means. A lot of immigrants who tote the "I came here with nothing and started with nothing, I was poor." No, they didn't. They would be seen as better off and elitists within their own country, so they come here to make even more money, and then they could go back to their country and be an even bigger elitist. If you have noticed, there is an article out there about African immigrants that come here. They benefit off of certain benefits that are for African American people here. It is for the descendants of chattel slaves, and they are counted as African American even though they immigrated to America. But because they have dark skin, they would be thrown in with the African American, which what that means in this country, that's not specifically what they are, but they benefit off of the civil rights and the fight that happened with African Americans, and then they come over here. They are educated abroad. They come here in certain fields and excel in certain positions that are supposed to be there to actually help African Americans in this country because of the suffering and everything that happened to actually take wealth and prevent African American people from getting wealth. Those slots and places were there for African American people, and it's not being even filled by African American people. It's being filled by immigrants. See, this nation will do anything not to do right by the descendants of chattel slavery. Every chance they get, every corner there is, you can see that they are just disgusting towards the people. This country is disgusting towards the very people it abused. Now, Camila Cabello, I'm not surprised that she said it, but I was surprised at how many black people were sitting in that audience clapping, including Jay-Z and Beyonce, which Blue Ivy tried to make them stop. Like, you can stop now. This is coming from a little girl which had more sense than her parents. But you really have to take a look at a person to know what's going on. And because I'm familiar with Fifth Harmony, I was very familiar with this girl's nasty attitude, the nasty things her and her followers say about black people specifically. And the fact that not only that is it came from jealousy, because within the group that she was in, that black girl was the most beautiful, was the most talented, and she wanted to be the lead. She wanted to be number one. She had to look at Normani every day and know that she didn't have that level of talent. Now, I don't know anything about Camila Cabello. As far as I knew, she was gone. She left the group. She may have tried to start a career and she didn't. Maybe her demographic is supporting her. I'm not sure, but I haven't heard any of her music or anything that she's doing. So She said in a tweet, "Say goodbye to the collared shirts and bows. I'm a gangster hood thug rat." She tweeted calling her Polynesian bandmate Ghetto Fabulous. And this person just said, "Feeling kind of random, any topics?" And she said, "How ghetto fabulous are you?" This person said, "Panera with headphones. We were going to go to Panera too, but it's closed. 3 steps ahead of you, nigga. What time is it there?" And people will try and make an excuse for that, saying, "Oh, she's talking to her own people, so she's not really talking about, black people." I understand you have some of them who will cape for light, bright, and white at detriment. And she ended up calling one of her bandmates, which we know who that is, the N-word hard R. And somebody tried to say it was a fake account, but like I said, people take screenshots all the time. If this is Camila Cabello, because I work my butt off and cry and get bullied by 4 niggers, that's why. Smiley face. This is who she's talking about. Guzman, that's an interesting last name. LOOL. Yeah, but Normani is actually a nigger. And then she was laughing hysterically. And there was a instance where people thought that Normani was shading her, but of course she knows exactly how she feels about her. I mean, I wouldn't want to be around anyone. I wouldn't want to be friends with anyone. I wouldn't have anything good to say. I wouldn't have anything to say about someone who I was getting those vibes from or knew was a rabid racist. And these are some of her Twitter followers. And Normonkey. Then this person said at Camila Cabello, "Come collect your racist fans," which she was just letting it be said on there. She didn't say anything as far as talking them down or saying she doesn't agree with that language. She doesn't agree with them because she said it herself. So that is who Camila Cabello is. This is who all the black people at the Grammys were clapping for. Someone who thinks of you as the N-word hard ER and think of you as a monkey. So, and you can see the blatant disrespect in building this country for dreamers by dreamers, which is bullshit. This country, the wealth, the GDP, and I would say even across the world, every nickel and dime down to every penny of wealth that was ever made was made on the back of black people. The White House, all of it, this country was built on the backs of chattel slaves, my family members, my ancestors. And it's so disrespectful that people would just let that fly over their head and clap for this and cape for this. This is why I never said anything about Daca. This is why I do not care anything about Daca, because personally I have worked in an industry where I see every single one of these Spanish speaking people, light or dark, no matter who they are, the majority of them check white on that box. Every application that I was getting in, it was white, 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 with the exception of one. I've heard Caucasian people say, "This dirty Mexican," and then this person who would be talked about like that then looks down on an African American person. And I was like, if you only knew. Even some African immigrants will say things about black people, and I'm like, if you only knew what the majority of this country says about you. But you want to be close to them no matter what they say. And when I first looked them up, I did see this picture here. And when you look at this picture, where does your eye go? You can tell it was an issue in a competition. She's wearing a black dress split. She's wearing a black dress with a split, but there is no competition here. Everybody who looks at this picture, your eyes go directly to Normani. So she was the only reason that I even looked at the group in the first place. And also, Normani, she signed a deal to be a songwriter for the company Stellar Songs, and it's the same publishing company Sam Smith is signed to. And here, when you go to her Instagram, you see here this picture. She's here with Beyonce here. And you can go through each one of these photos here of hers and understand why there was so much venom and hatred towards her by Camila and her fans, because this girl's talent and her beauty is undeniable. So she was most likely, and I would be willing to put money on it, that she was very intimidated. It's the same feeling that you get with the Kardashians, you know, with Coco, Ice-T's wife. And this is why you don't have a lot of black female artists or actresses, because that would do something to the self-esteem of a lot of these females who are Caucasian. And she got a happy birthday from Beyonce. So she's been taken notice by some talent within the industry. And like I said, you can obviously see why there was so much jealousy going on. And I just wanted to put a little context to why someone like Camila Cabello would say what she said with so much disregard and disrespect, because look at the way she treated this bandmate here. She called her a disgusting racial slur, and because she was intimidated by this young girl, and she was jealous of this young girl, and she knows in 10 years, if she has to compete with this girl, she'll still be looking young, while she'll have to retire because she's run her course. And nobody's really checking for her. I haven't heard anything by her. She doesn't have crossover appeal, so Normani would have more success. Birds of a feather flock together. A lot of her Instagram followers are racist, Camila Cabello, and she allowed it to go on and didn't address it. So yeah, I just wanted to speak on how I felt about Daca, how I felt about the disrespectful comments that were said at the Grammys, and how disappointed I was in the fact that black people let that go right over their head. But I'll go ahead and leave it right here. Let me know what you think about the situation, about her comments, about her obviously bigoted personality, and I will see you in the next one.